Right after leaving the snowy mountains in Stepan Zmina in Kazbegi, we headed back south in the direction of Tbilisi and were on our way to the city of Mtskheta, one of the ancient capitals of Georgia.
Church in Georgia. Most important church.
Most important.
You see, in terms of regional or political.
In Mtskheta, there's this church that is one of the highest importance to the entire country. Sveti-Tskhoveli Cathedral, literally meaning Cathedral of the Living Pillar, is of great historical and legendary importance because of the many stories that happen here. It's here inside this cathedral that Georgia, under the preaching of Saint Nino, became the second country in the world to adopt Christianity as its national official religion. There are also legends that the seventh pillar used to construct this cathedral has supernatural properties, such as the story about it flying off and Saint Nino having to pray for an entire night for it to come back down. And stories about this pillar containing a solution, a liquid that's rumored to cure all the diseases in the world, but can't be opened or broken because it's simply too sacred. For lunch, we had it in a restaurant halfway between Mtskheta and Tbilisi called Salobie. Then we quickly headed back to the outskirts of Tbilisi, where we went on top of the hill to see the Chronicle of Georgia, overlooking the Tbilisi Sea. From the top of Chronicle of Georgia, overlooking Tbilisi. That's the city. It's very big. It's the biggest city in Georgia. And we do know it. Just that overlooking it from the top of the Chronicle of Georgia makes it so much more magnificent. Also great news from our driver. The border with Armenia's finally open. And we're gonna catch a bus to there today. In like 40 minutes. Bus is leaving in 40 minutes, so we better hurry. See you all in Yerevan. So after that, just like planned, my uncle and I went to buy a ticket for a minibus from Tbilisi to Yerevan. But because we were in a hurry, I had no time to take any pics and record any vids from Tbilisi to the border with Armenia at Sadakhlo, except this pig right outside the city of Tbilisi. So here's some nerdy knowledge I have for you guys. Language knowledge I have for you guys. In Georgian, Georgia is called Sakartvelo, and in Armenian, Armenia is called Hayastan. But these two countries also have funny names for each other, which are both different from English and their native names. In Georgian, Armenia is called Somkheti, and in Armenia, Georgia is called Vrastan. Yeah, very different. Eventually, we arrive at the border crossing in the late afternoon. Okay guys, I'm about to cross the border from Georgia to Armenia. See you on the other side. And there, my passport stamps showing me leaving Georgia from Sadakhlo. Our minibus drove over a bridge above the Debed River, which is actually connected with the Mkhwari River that flows through cities in Georgia like Tbilisi, Rustavi, and Gori. We crossed the border and arrived in the town of Bagratashen. Alright guys, I made it to Armenia, but we're still at the border crossing, so see you in Yerevan. It was a long journey from the border to the capital city, Yerevan, and the roads were all on mountains and hills.
stopped midway in the town of Yerevan for dinner.
Alright, we're inside Armenia and we've arrived at our first stop. It's just a stop along the way at Yerevan, just for a simple dinner, and then we'll be on our way to Yerevan. The roads will be very dark, so I don't think we'll be filming anything. Yeah. So the sun had just set in Yerevan, and yeah.
So after dinner, we continued to be on our way, but the sky had already turned dark and I didn't record anything until we reached Yerevan. It was the same mountain road and I was tired, so I just slept all the way. It was almost midnight when we arrived in Yerevan. After we got off the bus, we almost got scammed by a pair claiming to be taxi drivers but offering a whopping 20,000 Armenian dram, which is equivalent to 68 Singapore dollars or 52 US dollars, for a taxi ride to our hostel that only cost 4,000 Armenian dram a night, which is 14 SGD or 10 USD. The point? Almost. We ended up taking a good 15 minutes trying to shake them off, and yeah, full story in another video that I'll make. We got on a Yandex cab that cost only 700 Armenian dram, about 2.4 SGD or 1.8 USD, to our hostel. The starter cab in the Yandex app was not a problem for us since we had not much luggage, just a backpack each. We stayed at a hostel near Republic Square, which was a convenient location for transportation and had lots of events. We had been on the road for the entire day, and when we checked into the hostel, we finally had the chance to rest for the night and prepare for the next 2 days in this new country. The next morning, on 31st May, we were ready to begin exploring Armenia.
Good morning from Yerevan in Armenia. I like the weather here, pretty cooling, and it appears to be sunny, but just that this district has a lot of tall buildings. So yeah, we go to the market to exchange and then also exchanging a few Armenian dram. See you in the city center, I guess.
Catch our journeys exploring Yerevan and going to Lake Sevan in the next episode. Please stay tuned.